कनेक्टिंग बोल रहा है या
ओके।
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 ये शुरू हो गया। ओके परफेक्ट,
थैंक
ठीक है दैट शुड बी इट नाउ। ओके थैंक यू सो मच पवन जी। सो I'll start off the session। ठीक है। Okay, good evening, guys, and thank you for joining in. So let's quickly start off with the meeting and understanding the concepts here so that we all can have a look at the context here. Okay, so guys, I'm hoping that the screen is visible to all of you. Just a quick note. Can anybody please confirm? Is the screen visible to all of you? I think a few of us. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. So let's quickly. Good evening, guys. Those of you wished, and yeah. So guys, let's move forward to whatever we have to discuss today. Okay, and understand the project at hand. Okay, and let me move towards the folder. Okay, so guys, I hope everyone remembers, right? If I talk about, right, let me just quickly go ahead and zap through with the important things which were actually there, right? If I talk about, right? So, I think most of us are already aware of it, right? But just to give you a quick context here, guys, okay, I hope everyone remembers, right? This is our second topic, right? If I talk about, right, the second project which is at hand, that is medical diagnosis using the AI, right? So we have already discussed about the context here, guys, okay? I hope all of us remember that, right? We mainly which the thing which we discussed about, right, was like we talked about, right, because of the human errors and other potential factors, right, you want to go ahead and have a what do you say, AI based solution which can ease out the doctor's process. Okay, so guys, I've already mentioned that an AI is not a replacement technology. Okay, it is called as a assistive technology. Okay, so it helps assist doctors to make informed decisions. Okay, and helps analyze already created reports and everything. Okay, but however, I'm pleased to understand, you might have seen, guys, there is a disclaimer whenever you also use the chat GPT, right? It already talks about, says that chat GPT is prone to errors. Okay, so it happens, right? Everything, like because there's a system which has been developed, right? So you can't completely, I mean, there might be some portions of things which are here and there, so that has to be verified at the end of the day. Okay, if I talk about, right, but the idea here is to make the things easier for the people to easier for the doctors to go ahead and talk about, right? There are numerous number of cases, and talking about each of the case handled by every doctor is not possible because of huge population which we have in India, right? So with that simple concept here, guys, let's quickly begin with our implementation and see how this can be done. Okay, so before I move forward, guys, right, I think like many of us like might have heard about, like I'm going to see, guys, it's always better to run guys, this is whatever step I'm doing now, right, it is quite optional. It's not exactly a mandate step if you talk about, right, because I'm going to run my project in the virtual environment. Okay, so virtual environment is like a space which you what do you say, which you basically give. Okay, if I talk about, right, it's like a space, a virtual space which is given for running a particular program, right? So I mean, the idea is fairly very simple, guys. How it works out is potentially, if I talk about, right, Let me bring out this document. Yeah, perfect. So in a virtual environment, right, if I talk about, guys, right, so if this is your entire computer, right, so the idea is fairly simple, right? I mean, you can install Python wide across your entire computer, right? So the Python installation can easily be done, right? However, right, if I want to go ahead and create, I can create separate spaces, okay, within my computer itself, right? For they're like separate universes. So I can download, I mean, I can keep Python installed, and within these space, right, you can, because what you are doing is, suppose what this space is basically doing is creating maybe project one, right? I have project two, I have project three, I'm calling it as P3, P4, and maybe P5, right? So I have different projects, right? I can create n number of spaces, right, on this system, right? This is my computer. If I talk about, right, on this computer itself, I can go about creating a system, right? I mean, if I talk about in the context here, right, I can create a virtual space for each and every project, right? So that way, I mean, there will be no dependency issues between these two different projects, if I talk about, right? So that's why you use a particular virtual environment, which is going to help you with executing as a separate environment, right, where you can run your project I mean, without having to face any issues. Okay, so you can so that's why, guys, I think you can understand each of the project can have different versions. Like this is taking maybe NumPy version, what do you say, 1.23.4 something. Okay, this is running NumPy version 1. I mean 1.25. 3 or something. Okay, this is running a different version of NumPy. Okay, this is running, so the idea here is, right, or in P5 you may not have NumPy at all, right? If your project does not require NumPy, you may not have it, right? But the whole point is that entire system, which is containing the entire code repository, can be further subdivided into small universes, each of the universe having their own set of rules. Okay, that is the advantage of using virtual environment, guys. Okay, so and how to create the virtual environment, I'm not going to talk about that, guys. Okay, it's a very easy process, you can follow it up. By the way, I can write you the code here. You can use the command prompt and write Python dash m. This M stands for module. Okay, I'm using the name of the module is VENV. Okay, the name of the module or name of the Python module, which helps you to create what? Virtual environment. Okay, is called as VENV, and I name my virtual environment like maybe in this case medical diagnosis or whatever, right? I can call it like that. Okay, so the idea here is fairly very simple. This line of code will help you to create a virtual environment on your system, right, which is going to help you with the further executing the code in the context here, right? But that's out of the context. In case you are interested, okay, you can look out or check out virtual environment, okay, and create your repository separately, so that there is no mismatch with other project files which you have. Okay, so my recommendation to all of you is, guys, it is very good to create separate virtual environments for each project, because maybe in some of the project you don't require some modules, right? Maybe in other projects you require that module, right? So this virtual environment will help you to completely control your environment. Okay, completely control your installation and do it from scratch. Okay, and what do you say, I mean, and the development task becomes quite easy, guys. Okay, so so you can create hundreds, thousands of virtual environment one system, right? Like for project 1, project 2, project 3, 4, 5, and project n, whatever, right? So you can create n number of virtual environments. Okay, so I hope it's clear for everyone. Okay, but as I said, guys, it's not needed. Okay. Anyways, okay. So but I'm going to use the virtual environment, guys. That's what you are going to see now. Okay. So guys, this is Windows 11 machine. Okay. So Windows 11 has a nice feature, right? I can right click on this screen here. Okay. And I can open this place, this entire place in the terminal. That is my, especially I think most of you already know about it, right? The terminal is nothing but, if I talk about, is the command prompt, right? So I'll click on open in terminal, right? Once I do that, you can see that it opens this particular location, C user Saomya OneDrive desktop AICT. But however, I can still use Windows button and just write in CMD, okay, and I can open my command prompt that way as well. Okay, that is also possible, obviously, but the only problem here is it opens at C user Saomya, and then I have to navigate, or I have to go to this folder. Okay, so in order to go to this folder, I can also take, like, on top, right? You see, wherever you see that blank screen, right? Click on the blank screen, right? You see that particular address bar. This is, I hope everyone knows, right? This guy here on top this is entirely called as a, what do you say? If I say that this is the address bar. Okay, so this contains the address or the location of where you are talking about, right? In the context here, right? Now what I am going to do is copy this location. Okay, so you can see C user Saomya OneDrive desktop AICT. I'll copy it, Control C. We all know about it, right? And I'll go to this command prompt window. Okay, and I say CD, which basically in the command prompt language, if I talk about, says that, I hope everyone knows, this is called as change directory. Okay, there's the change directory command, which helps you to change the directory and set it to the copied location, right? So I can use CD and I can paste this location, okay, which I copied from here. And that way I changed my location from this place to the place where I have my folders, right? How do I know I am at the correct location? There's one of the command called CLS, which is going to help me clear the clutter here. Okay, I'm back here. Now I can use a command known as dir, okay, which basically, the dir command basically stands for directory. Okay, so the dir command helps you to get directory. A directory is nothing but a folder, you can say that, in the particular. So I want to list out all the folders present at this location. Okay, so I'll use the directory command and I press enter. The moment I do that, you can see that I can see the folder named environments. I can see project1 files, project2 files, and project3 files. I think you can all understand, and you can see that I'm at the correct location. Okay, now the whole idea here is pretty simple and straightforward, right? Now I want to activate. By the way, I already created that environment. Okay, and by the way, I told you, right, I can use that command, like for example Python. Let me show you guys, just in case I want to create a environment here. Maybe I'll show it to you. -m is for module, right? The name of the module is VENV. Okay, and my what do you say, the module name, I mean, then I'm going to put the name of the module which I'm going to create. Let's say demo module. Okay, some demo module, and I press enter. The moment I do that, you are going to see, guys, on the folder, right, in the folder, in the place where you opened it up, right, you will see that this is getting created. Can you see this, right? It creates a folder, just like a folder, like a structure, right? You can see the timestamp here. Just now at 5:33 p.m. I tried to create it, and you can see that it is created here. Okay, so by the way, it is still creating, because how do I know that? You can see that the execution has not completed. If the execution completes, it will again show me this line here. Okay, or it will show me the cursor there. Okay, so it does not show till, yeah, you can see now that it has successfully created it. Okay, and you can see that the demo underscore module has been created. And when I double click on it, guys, okay, you will see this include file, library file, and scripts file, by the way. Okay, so Inside this, there is the scripts file, okay? And within the scripts file, the moment you create it, right, you'll see this particular activate file. I hope you can understand the context here, okay? So I can use the activate file to activate my virtual environment. And let me show you how the activation is done here, okay? So you can see that it is located, I double clicked inside demo underscore module. Then I went to the folder called scripts, and then I want to go to this activate, okay? So if I want, I can say cd and change my directory one by one, but I don't want to do that because it is going to change my actual directory, okay? That I don't want to do because I have my project files in what do you say, in this location, okay? You saw that I have my project files there, okay? So so I'll go ahead and just use I'll just write demo underscore module. Maybe I'll go about using slash, okay? Then I'm saying scripts. Inside demo underscore module, there is a folder called scripts. By the way, guys, I think you all observed, right? I just typed a few words, okay, SC, and I press tab. It will show me what all things start with the letter SC, okay? So there is only one folder which is inside demo underscore module, which starts with scripts, okay? So post that, I will go into activate, okay? Activate.bat. I can run this maybe. And the moment I do that, okay, you can see that before, right, before this particular location, right, you have the virtual environment activated. That's why it shows me demo underscore module. You are working with demo underscore module, okay? So I hope you can understand, guys, that is what is happening, right? But earlier you did not see that stuff earlier, right? I hope you can understand. Now, guys, you know, I can use a command called pip list, okay? This pip list is going to list out all the packages which have been installed in this demo underscore module, right? You can see I just created in front of you, I created the virtual environment. So there is nothing as such. I think there is only pip. Pip is nothing but the Python package manager, right? This is important because of this pip, right, you are able to install other modules, okay? Pip, you might have heard about the command pip install pandas. We are going to do that, okay, and understand the concept here, right? But this pip is the major what do you say, what do you say, Python package manager, which helps you to go ahead and install other relevant packages which are available in Python, right? And these packages help us to do all sorts of tasks which are given, okay? So as of now, I told you, right, you can see that pip is installed here. Now what I can do is maybe I'll say deactivate. If I fire the command called deactivate, it will deactivate the demo underscore module, okay? So I press enter. You can see, guys, that earlier it was showing demo module. Now it is back to this same screen like you see on top, right? So it is back to this, okay? So the virtual environment is deactivated. Now, if I write pip list, I have already installed Python in my local, I mean, normal system as well, okay? It is available system wide. So if I use pip list, it will show me a list of different modules which have already been installed, okay? So let me quickly wait for it. Yeah, you can see, guys, I have lots of modules which are already installed, okay? And you will see pip here as well. Can you see this? So pip version 24.3.1 is installed here, right? So I told you, right, you can install anything. You can create your a virtual environment is a very simple, in a very simple language, called as your own space for creating your own project, okay? I can run, I told you, right, that is optional. I can run it across the system like this, okay? Without creating, I can directly write my commands here, as long as you have installed Python correctly and everything, okay? You have set up Python correctly, then everything works fine. But if you want to go ahead and also create your virtual environment, you can do so by, what do you say, creating the virtual environment like this, okay? So there's the exit command, which can help me to exit out from the uh, command prompt, right? But I showed you, right, that I created a virtual environment called demo underscore module, right? It's very easy to remove this virtual environment. All I need to do is select this folder and say shift delete, and maybe or delete whatever, right? So that is going to help me delete the virtual environment. That's as simple as that, guys, as simple as that. Okay, so if you don't want the virtual environment on your system persisting. Okay, now I think all of us understood that, right? So let me tell you what I'm going to do now, right? You see here, right, I have created a folder called environments. Okay, this environment folder contains three different, these are, each of them are a virtual environment, right? So I created a space for project one, I created a space for project two, and I created a space for project three. So for our today's session, I'm going to use the virtual environment called project two, which is located inside environments. Okay, so within project two, again, you will see the same kind of a scenario, right? You saw me creating the virtual environment. It contained all of these files. Okay, so you saw that scripts folder, right? The scripts folder is containing, again, activate. Okay, so I'll activate this virtual environment, that is project 2 virtual environment, for my context here. Okay, so let me do that here. First of all, right click on this and maybe open in terminal or whatever, right? I'm at this location already. Okay, I'll say environments. Okay, I can type few words, okay, and just press tab. It will automatically fill if it finds a related term. If it does not find, like for example, there is no folder named Saomya here, right? If I try to do that, SAO, and if I try to press tab, it does not work out. Okay, because obviously there is no folder called as that, right? So environment, there is a folder called environment. Within environment, if I go inside, there is project 2. I want to go to project 2, and I want to go to scripts and then activate this virtual environment, right? Environments, project 2, sorry, not 1, project 2, you can see, guys, right? And scripts and activate. Okay, and I press enter. I can write activate dot bat or activate, both works fine. By the way, guys, dot bat, if I talk about, guys, in case you are wondering, right, dot bat is the batch file, is also known as the Windows batch file. Okay, so if I talk about it, right, this batch file is responsible for execution. So this is a executable file, by the way, guys. Okay, you can execute it. Okay, so that's why it's called as a batch file. Okay, so so I hope you can understand, guys, right? And obviously, I think all of us understand one thing, that for activating, I need to execute that file. Okay, and that's what I'm doing here. Okay, so hopefully it's understandable to all of us. Okay, then I am now inside project 2. You can see. By the way, you might be wondering why this color came into picture. It's because it looks very much like command prompt window, but it is running in PowerShell. Okay, Windows offers another shell like the command prompt window, okay, called as the Windows PowerShell. So it's exactly, the PowerShell is exactly like the command prompt, but you can see that it has lots of colors. If you make some mistakes, right, it's going to show error in a different color or red color or something those lines, right? So that makes it more easy to use if I talk about. Got it, guys? I hope it's understandable to all of us. Okay, now moving forward, if I talk about, guys, let me now I have activated my project 2, by the way. Okay, and if you look into it, guys, I have, if I look into pip list, okay, I have already downloaded and installed all the dependent modules. Okay, I'll show you how it is done. Don't worry about it. Okay, but let me show you that what does this universe, or in other words, this virtual environment contains, right? You can see that it contains a wide variety of packages here if you look into, right? So these are all necessary for running your project. Okay, so I'll actually, guys, you don't write each and everything about it. Okay, actually, when you try to install it, guys, when you try to install one package, okay, all the dependent packages, because packages may also be dependent on other packages. Okay, Python has more than, what do you say, if I talk about, right, that day I might have told about more than 2 lakh packages. Okay, are there, if I talk about, right? and maybe I'll use packages. By the way, if you might be wondering what are these packages, what is a package, right? A package is nothing but a cluster of Python files which contains what you say, it's like a cluster of functions, if you talk about, right, which can help you sort out a lot of problems. Okay, rather than building things from scratch, you use packages to create your or work with your projects. Okay, so but obviously guys, I think you can understand, right? That's one of the reasons why Python is widely used for all sorts of different what you say, data analysis, data science based tasks. Okay, so more than that many number of packages are there, and when I download one package, right, maybe some packages which are relating to it will be downloaded. Like for example, let me give you an example, guys. When I try to download Jupyter Notebook, right, so there is a command called pip install notebook which can help me download Jupyter Notebook, right? Many of you guys, you can directly use Anaconda, right? You guys are already aware of it. You can use the Anaconda navigator. Okay, and from the Anaconda navigator you can navigate to the project to talk about that as well, right? So I'm just showing you different ways in which you can log into the Jupyter Notebook, right? If I talk about, but this takes some time, by the way, and because it's a huge application, right? You can see it is loading now. Okay, if I talk about, right, just to show you guys. Okay, I'm going to load this up. However, I'm going to shift back to this command prompt window, but in case you guys are interested enough, right, you can see how it is actually loaded, right? So let me just quickly load this up for all of you. Come on. So I think, yeah. So the Anaconda Navigator has opened. Okay, I'll probably say no, remind me later here. Okay, from here, okay, this is the application which we are interested to run. Okay, that is going to help us write our code and everything, right? I hope everyone can see this, right? The Anaconda Navigator has this. Okay, the Jupyter Notebook. Okay, where you are going to write your code. So all I need to do is click on launch. It is a very simple process. In case you guys are a little bit confused as to what did sir say up until now and stuff, you can directly use the Jupyter Notebook for what you say, executing your code there. Okay, so I'll just click on launch and it opens the exact Jupyter Notebook which you see here and there, and you can obviously go ahead and create your own files here, whatever. You can do all the project files and everything. Okay, so let it open up. Yeah, so you can see the Jupyter Notebook opens in this particular location. Okay, so this location actually is nothing but see, I mean, if you look into, guys, right, the context here, right, so you can go about I can move towards OneDrive. Okay, within OneDrive I can go to desktop. Okay, within desktop I can click on, let's say, there was AICT folder. Okay, and within this folder I'll go to project 2 medical diagnosis using AI, and you can see that there are all the IPYNB files which we are going to open just now. Okay, so just to give you an idea here, I can click on it. Okay, and I can open this particular file here. I'm going to open this file in a jiffy, guys, and you can see that it is open for all of us. Okay, so that's particularly possible here, but however, as I said, I like to keep it on from the basics as well. So hopefully, guys, we all understand the context here. Okay, let me quit this up. Okay, and quit the Anaconda Navigator. Yes, now guys, look at this. So I've already created that project too, right? Now let me just use the clear screen. Okay, now here what I'm going to do is I'm at this OneDrive location and I'm going to directly write the command, right? So guys, I hope you can understand that first of all, right, you need to use pip, like for example, let me I think I showed you my pip list for project 2, virtual environment project 2. Okay, this already contains Jupyter, right? You can see Jupyter client core and other things already being part of it, right? If you talk about, right, dash the stuff and everything. Okay, all of these things are, you can see notebook here. Okay, this notebook is nothing but Jupyter notebook, right? So in case, right, by the way, if I write the command Jupyter dash notebook, the Jupyter notebook is going to open. Okay, but if you want to install it, you can use the, I told you, right, the pip is responsible for creating or downloading packages from the internet. So I'll use pip install notebook. Okay, this command is going to help us download notebook from online. But I think you can all guess up until whatever you have seen now, right? You can see that it says repeatedly, it says requirement already satisfied. I hope everyone can see this: requirement already satisfied, requirement already satisfied. I think you can understand why this message is coming up. It's because of a very simple thing, that is my notebook is already installed on the what you say, on the virtual environment called project 2. Okay, so I don't need to install it. If you have installed the package, okay, any package which you install, guys, okay, it is going to show, if it is already installed, it is going to show requirement already satisfied. Okay, that means simply that the file is already present. Okay, if I talk about, right now, if I look into it, guys, so let's quickly talk about it here. Okay, so since I told you, right, since Jupyter Notebook is installed on my system, I can type this command. I can write both Jupyter Notebook, Jupyter space notebook, or Jupyter dash. Both of these things are correct, guys. You can write Jupyter space notebook, or you can write Jupyter dash notebook. Whatever you like, you can write it, and it'll take a few seconds. Okay, and it's going to open the Jupyter notebook for all of us. Okay, so let's have a look at here. So I think you all understand what is this going to open is the same kind of a screen which you saw in Anaconda prompt, right? It is always like you can use anything to open it up. You can use Anaconda, you can use any, you can even run your notebooks on VS Code, whatever you like, you can use that. Okay, so that depends on the context here. Okay, now let me go to project 2. Under project 2 files, I have medical diagnosis using AI. Okay, so guys, I think you all can understand. I already have shared you this data sets. Okay, the data sets are already part of it. Diabetes data, there is heart disease data, there is hypothyroid. All of these data is already part of this. Okay, you, if you want to go ahead and sir might have already shared it to you. Okay, inside that there is the folder called datasets. Within the datasets, you have all the CSV files. Okay, we are putting that in one place to talk about. Okay, now guys, let me show you. By the way, guys, there are, four different files here. Okay, the idea is, so see, here's the thing, guys. Okay, the app which we have created, right, that app is going to show us heart disease prediction as well. It will also show lung cancer. It will also show Parkinson's disease detection, and it will also show thyroid. Okay, so I hope you can understand, guys, that it is going to work out in all of these scenarios if you talk about, right? So, but they have been created separately for easy convenience. Okay, each of them is a separate file, by the way, guys. Okay, which can be used for running. Okay, so from here, let's look at one of the diseases. If I talk about, right, by the way, if I look into it, guys. Okay, so let me first show you the motivation here. Okay, I think if I'm not wrong, I executed the app in the first what do you say, in the first class itself. Okay, I showed you the how the output actually looks like, right? So I hope you can understand, guys, right? Just in case you guys don't what do you say, remember, then let me quickly show it to you, maybe here again. Okay, I'll probably do that for all of us here, and maybe you can use that. I'll right click, I'll open, I've already opened Jupyter Notebook. I don't want to close that instance, right? So I'll just use maybe environments, project 2, scripts, activate, and let me activate project 2, and let me go to cd. I'll change my directory to project 2 files. Okay, from here, project 2 files. Okay, then I'm saying cd. Then within sub project 2 files, there is medical diagnosis using AI. That is the folder name. Medical diagnosis using, I just typed a few words and pressed tab. It is going to go inside that. Okay, now again, now that I'm inside this, okay, inside this, I'm going to, this is the app.py file. Okay, so this particular app.py file is responsible for your execution here in the context here. So I'm going to write the command as stream. Okay, I think yeah, so I'm going to write here as streamlit run, and I'm going to say app.py, and I'll press enter. And just to show you the context here, guys, okay, this is how our overall, what do you say, interface would look like. Okay, I think I have already shown this to you that day. Okay, so takes a while because there are things which it is loading based on the stuff, based on the code which you have worked on. Okay, so we just wait for, yeah, so you can see, guys, diabetes prediction, right? I have others as well, heart disease prediction, I have maybe Parkinson's, right? And within that, I'm going to enter the values. Okay, I think all of us understand the context here. After you do that, okay, all you have to do is click on Parkinson's test results. The person has Parkinson's disease or something in those lines, if you talk about, right? So I think, guys, you can understand the context here, right? This is what it talks about. Okay, so this is how the app actually looks like. I can take some other thing like maybe heart disease, and I have all of these factors, and I click on heart disease stuff. If you talk about, it says like, that's the whole idea. Okay, so you put some values there. Okay, and based on the values which you put in, okay, it shows whether the person has it or not has it. Okay, so this is the idea of the app. We are going to create and design this particular app, okay, and understand it. Okay, so let me just what do you say, close this. Maybe I'll Okay, I'll just go ahead and click on cross. So because I just showed you, so I hope everyone understands, guys, that is the type of app which we are going to design. But before designing the app, guys, okay, it is advisable to understand the concept and then look into it. Okay, like for example, Parkinson's disease detection, right? So let's click on this. Okay, and let me give you a brief idea about what the project is all about. Okay, so that you guys have a starting point and understand the concept here. Okay, so show the line numbers. Okay, so guys, the first thing, if I talk about, right, is I mean, importing the dependencies. Okay, these dependencies are nothing but, if I talk about in the context here, that which is going to help us work with the files. Okay, so you can see, guys, that there are various modules. Okay, I think, guys, let me quickly elaborate this a bit. Okay, so anyways, I maybe don't require this. Stats model is not required, and maybe I'll have others. Okay, so look at this, guys. So if I talk about, right, we have NumPy. If you talk about, right, this is what do you say, a library, okay, or a package which helps us to work with arrays. Okay, arrays, in fact, it helps us to work with multi-dimensional arrays. Okay, okay, and by the way, guys, when I say arrays, arrays are data structures which can what do you say, store, what do you say, similar, okay, kind of elements. Okay, so maybe if it is a number, right, you can store numbers in these. So, and generally you, I mean, you show arrays like in this form. I mean, arrays are like lists, right? The only difference is, right, it contains similar type of this guy here, right, contains similar type of elements. Okay, if it is having integer, right, then the array will contain integers. Okay, so if it is having maybe float, right, float are decimal points if I talk about, right, then it contains float, right. And you know, the best thing about arrays are, the reason why we are using arrays, numpy arrays, because they are way faster compared to list. Okay, by the way, if I talk about numpy, right, it is partly created with Python, and along with that, it is also fundamentally also written with C, I mean C++ language as well, if I talk about, right. So I hope you can understand the context here. That's why. And if you talk about, right, I mean, C has a support for what do you say, array, sorry, pointers, right. And I hope if people know about the concept of pointers, right. So pointers help to point out a particular memory location, okay, which helps to make things exactly faster. Got it, guys? So compared to Python and C is way faster compared to Python, guys. And using that property of C, right, you created something called as NumPy, which is going to help you to work with bigger, what do you say, arrays, okay, or elements of similar kinds, if I talk about, right. Then there is the next module called as pandas, right. This pandas, right, by the way, is a module called like, which is used to handle data frames. Okay, data frames are just like how you have pictures, right, picture frames, right, you talk about, right. A frame which is containing data is called as a data frame, right. Most of it, most of us know about in the form of a table, right. If I draw a table like this, right, so you have columns, and you have, when data is organized in the form of rows and columns, okay, columns, okay. So that is why, and data, I mean, pandas is actually built on top of numpy. Okay, so that's why it has an additional flexibility, if I talk about, guys. Okay, so pandas has that additional flexibility. Okay, this guy here, right, if I talk about, right, has what do you say, okay, to work with real data, real time data. And most of the real-time data exists in the form of tables, right, if I talk about, right. And that's why we are using the uh stuff here. I think, guys, I made a mistake. Okay, I'll probably close it. Yeah, I think, I hope all of us understand. My mistake, I deleted it, guys. Okay. So, all right. So, as I was talking about, guys, okay. So, we have the NumPy, we have pandas, okay. Then Seaborn, okay. The Seaborn library, okay, is used for plotting. Okay, so this is a major library, which is, you know, and looking into seaborn plots, it's very aesthetic to look at, guys. Very, what do you say, lucrative to look at. Okay, it's very awesome to look in to the plots within that. Okay, so now next is sklearn. Okay, otherwise also known as scientific, SCI, scientific, SCIENTIFIC, scientific learn, okay, library, okay, or scikit-learn. This is called as scikit-learn library. Okay, so from there we are importing something called as SVM. Okay, SVM is one of the machine learning models called as support vector machine. Okay, so you know, it's a very nice what do you say, um model, or what do you say, ML model, right? Which is technically used for mostly used for, what do you say, classification. Okay, this is a classification based task. Why am I saying that this is a classification based task? Because I am saying that whether a person has Parkinson's disease or not, right? That's the question which I'm answering. Okay, so that's why it is a what do you say, classification based task. I'm classifying whether he has it or not. Okay, then I have matplotlib.pyplot. Okay, matplotlib is, again, by the way, it's called as the mathematical plotting library. Okay, so this is again a plotting library, just like how you have Seaborn, right? So used for plotting, but matplotlib is the fundamental plotting library on which Seaborn is built on top, on top of matplotlib. Okay, so but Seaborn plots are more aesthetic or more better to look at compared to matplotlib plots, by the way, guys. Okay, but the base is matplotlib. Okay, then sklearn. Okay, again, you can see, right, scientific learn library. This library, by the way, guys, is what you say, wide, it is a house of all different kinds of ML models. Okay, you can run different kinds of ML models thanks to this particular library. Okay, if you understand the context here, right? And guys, when I write like this, when I use a dot, right, it's like saying sklearn is the name of the folder. Okay, and that folder containing other files. Okay, if I talk about one of the file is metrics, right? There is one file called as pre-processing. Okay, there is one file called as model selection. Okay, got it. So that's how it works out. Okay, so you can imagine sklearn to be a big folder, right? Just like I was saying, right, it is a package, right? A package is, you can think of like a big folder containing different sub modules in them. Okay, so if I talk about, right, so sklearn has one more module, maybe one more folder called as svm. Okay, so I think you can understand, guys, that's how it works out. Okay, it's like a folder based structure. Okay, guys, so I hope it's understandable by everyone. Okay, so from sklearn.metric, this is going to help me what do you say, measure the score. Okay, in this context we are talking about accuracy score, so I want to measure the accuracy score of my model. I'm going to use from sklearn dot within that there is a folder called metrics, and within that there is a function called accuracy underscore score, right? Similarly, from sklearn there is a subfolder called as pre-processing, right? Within that there's one of the pre-processing stuff which helps us to do it, called as standard scaler, right? Let me tell you guys what is this pre-processing step actually used for. Okay, so guys, you should understand one thing, that what do you say, a computer, if I talk about, right, it does not understand categories or text or strings, right? If you talk about, right, it only understands the numbers, right? All of these things at the back end are changed to some, like, in the form of ones and zeros at the back end, right? If I talk about, right, and different kinds of things, I'll show you what this particular thing actually does, right? It basically converts the entire columns, right, into similar scale. We'll talk about it. When I say similar scale, what does that mean? Okay, then sklearn.model selection. From here I'm selecting, like, within this within the sklearn folder, model selection is the subfolder. There is something called as a train test split. The idea here is, guys, see, whenever you create a machine learning model, guys, it is very important to split the data. Why am I doing the splitting? For a very simple reason, that I don't want to train my model in all the data which is there. Okay, because if I train it with all the all the data which we have, okay, then if I put some new data to it, okay, it might not recognize it. Do you get it, guys? Understood? So that's why we do something like a train and test split. Okay, so we divide it in the form of training data and and the testing data. Okay, we split it. Okay, so that we might take maybe around 70 or 80% of the data for training. Okay, and rest 20% of the data will be set aside for testing, because you trained it, now you want to go ahead and test it up. Okay, that is what the train test split does. Okay, let me quickly run this line here for all of us. Okay, and move forward with the next set of things which I want to talk about. Okay, so let me, yeah, so I think all of us understand the context here, right? So we have now what am I do, like by the way, yeah, one more important thing, if you guys are wondering, right, what is this as NP, what is this as PD, what is this as SNS, right? This is nothing but alias. Okay, because numpy is a very big word to write, like 5 letters, right? Pandas is a 6 letter word, seaborn is a, what do you say, a 7 letter word, right? Writing that it becomes tedious, right? Again, matplotlib.pyplot is a big one, right, if you write it, right? So from there, I'm just making it as short form, right? From next time onwards, when I write something, right, I'm going to use plt dot, sns dot, pd dot, np dot. That's how I'm going to call it up. Okay, so I hope you can understand this is what is meant by um, um, import something as and using this as word. Okay, I mean as keyword. Okay, by the way guys, you can see that it is highlighted in green. These are called as keywords in Python. Okay, all of these are keywords. Okay, they are highlighted in pure dark green if you talk about, right? So they are all keywords. Okay, there are 35 keywords in Python, just for the sake of understanding, guys. Okay, so I ran this cell, right? I can use shift enter to run the cells. Okay, now what am I going to do is PD or the pandas has a function called read underscore CSV. Okay, because my file, if you look into, okay, my file is actually, my data file is located in the folder called datasets. Okay, the name of the folder is datasets. Okay, so within the datasets folder, okay, there is a file, if you talk about, right, which says that I'm loading the Parkinson's data. Okay, this is the name of the folder. Oh, sorry, name of the file, right? If I talk about, and on the right hand side, guys, you can see that the type of the file on the right hand side. Let me double click here. Okay, you saw this Parkinson's data. Okay, you can see that it shows me in the form of Microsoft Excel CSV or comma separated values file. Okay, so that is why I'm using the function called pd dot read underscore CSV. And let's have a look at the data itself, guys. See, guys, you want to be good at data analysis, guys, it's very important to understand your data first. Okay, so let me quickly do this here. Maybe I'll take this and show it to you. Okay, guys, so always try to understand the data here. Okay, so by the way, guys, Parkinson's, I hope all, I mean, many of us might be knowing what this disease actually is, right? So you might have seen people like people going through a nervous breakdown. Like, for example, their hands or legs might not be functioning properly because the signals from the brain are not reaching to the particular body part in a timely manner, right? So that's why there is uncoordinated movement of the things, right? Maybe your hands, or maybe other parts of the body, or maybe legs or whatever, right? So that's the what do you say, disease, which is our Parkinson's disease, which we are talking about right now. Guys, you might be like, if I talk about, like, always try to first look into the data. Okay, so the first column says name, right? So I think this particular name actually means, like, if I talk about, right, that what are the recordings of this particular person, right? So they are all subjects. Okay, in the medical terminology, these are called as subjects. Each individually is a patient or a subject, if I talk about, right? By the way, you can see that maybe S1 is subject 1, maybe. Okay, they are called as subjects. Okay, and then there would be a reading at separate intervals. Like, I hope you can understand. Same way you have S2, few S2, recordings, and then there is a stuff if you talk about, right? So different subjects or different people having different recordings. Okay, so if you understand the data, guys, you're going to do much more in the data rather than just doing a simple thing. Okay, so one of the potential thing which I can think of is doing a subject based analysis as well. I can think of that. Okay, next, talking about MDVP. By the way, guys, this MDVP, this is a medical terminology if I talk about, right? So I think it's what do you say, multi dimensional voice program. So this is MDVP, by the way. Okay, guys, this is a medical terminology again. Okay, so I think you can understand the word here, voice, right? It says voice, right? That means the entire data which you see here contains voice-based data. And by the way, guys, I think you can all understand the quantity or the unit which is mentioned here is HZ. That is nothing but hertz. Okay, hertz is a unit of sound, if or frequency if I talk about, right? And frequency is for sound signals or voice signals, you have frequencies measurement. Okay, so I think you can understand that, guys. And there are various parameters which are getting monitored, like jitter, rap, all of those things, right? There are different parameters which are getting monitored here. Okay, and main thing is, guys, in all of these cases, right, there is one what do you say, stuff which is called as status, right? This status says whether one means that the person has Parkinson's, okay, and zero means the person does not have Parkinson's. Okay, so I hope you can understand the context here. You can see some zeros, you have ones and zeros and stuff, right? So I think all of us can safely assume that this is how it works out. Okay, there are 196 rows of data, and if you talk about, right, the total number of columns, if I talk about, guys, okay, always understand the data first. Okay, the total number of columns, if you I just selected it, if you look into, guys, okay, you can see the count here. It says 24 columns. Okay, so the total number of records becomes 24 columns and 195. Why am I saying 195? Because the top one is a header, right? So 195 rows. So always understand the data first, guys, and then do an analysis. Okay, it is going to help you out with all sorts of things. Okay, now you understood and looked into the data, right? Parkinson's disease is containing this particular data. Now let me come back here. Okay, now Parkinson's data, I'm saying pd dot read csv. Okay, and I'm saying, by the way, content Parkinson's disease. I don't think there is a location called content Parkinson's disease in this particular folder. The name of the folder here is data sets. Okay, so instead of content, it should be data sets slash Parkinson's disease. Okay, let me modify it here, data sets and Parkinson's disease. By the way, guys, if I try to run this, let's have a look what happens. It says file not found yet, because, guys, right, I have to, in the beginning, right, I have to put a dot here. Okay, that suggests that whatever you are at the current directory, this dot means you are at the current directory, and then I am going to the folder called datasets, and within that datasets folder I'm going to a file called Parkinson's underscore data. And if I run this, now you will see, if I okay, there's, it says Parkinson's data. Let me go ahead and check. What does it say? No such file exists. Let me see if I am writing it correctly. Datasets, and within data sets I go inside Parkinson data. So, guys, I'm sorry for it. You can see the, what do you say, the name of the file is incorrect. Okay, the file name should be Parkinson data. You can see, guys, either you can see that here it says Parkinson underscore data, right? So that is the name of the file. Okay, let me go back here and just update it. Okay, if I run this, you can see, guys, that it executed smoothly without any problem. Okay, now the head function in pandas helps you to see the first 5 records of this particular data, right? I hope you can understand. You can now see the CSV file loaded on the system. Okay, so I hope you can see that all of these things are pretty much available directly. You can see that name of the patient, you have the multi-dimensional voice program. From that you have frequency or maybe baseline frequency or something. Okay, so high frequency, low frequency, and jitter, all of those terms. Okay, so guys, in case you are not aware of the medical terminologies, guys, it nowadays everyone has chat gpt. Put the name of the entire column, you'll find what it means by that. Okay, so that is why I asked you to download your data set on your own. Okay, so that you can go to the place where you download it, and there you have a description of it. Okay, so you can see that, by the way. Okay, so hopefully you can understand the concept here. Okay, this is what it talks about. Okay, now I can use the shape method or a shape instance to show the shape of the data, right? It says 195 comma 24. We verified that, right? There are 195 rows, so it shows in the form of, I hope everyone understands, guys. Okay, when I write shape, okay, it shows me in the form of rows comma column. Okay, okay, so I hope it's understandable by all of us. Okay, just for the sake of understanding, guys, I'm also putting few of the words here. Okay, rows and columns, it shows in that format. Okay, then moving forward, I have Parkinson's data.info. This is an info method which helps us to find or say, like you can see that 190. So it shows a lot of details, guys. Okay, so the first detail which you see it here, I told you, right? Data frame class. It is belonging to the data frame class. Okay, which is basically pandas data frame class. Okay, range index, guys, when you create a what do you say, a data frame in pandas, okay, using the read CSV. Can you see this, guys? By default, pandas gives these numbers in front. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 to reference. These numbers are not there in your file. Okay, this is for reference purpose. Okay, pandas by default gives it. Okay, and obviously if the numbering system and I think you all know that the numbering system for computer scientists begins from the number 0. Okay, it does not start from 1, it starts from 0. Okay, now if I talk about Parkinson's disease or underscore data, I have stored it in the variable. Okay, I have range index which has 195 entries which are from 0 to 194, because obviously 195 entries means if I'm including 0, then it has to go till n minus 1. Okay, data columns, total number of columns is 24. You can see the data type. So guys, this also shows a lot of info, right? You have the name of the column. There are 195 not null values, meaning there are 195 no blank values. Okay, so that's what not null means. But the data type here is object, because you saw, right, the name of the person is in this format, right? Phone, rs, r01 and stuff. So that is in the form of a string if I talk about, right? But mdvp, you can see I mean baseline frequency in hertz, right, which you can see is having, again, none of, you can see, guys, one of the best thing about all of this is it shows, right, you see all of them are having 195. Okay, you can see, meaning there are no, the data is very nice. Okay, it is not containing any null values, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so and you have the d type here as float, if you talk about, right, the float data type, which talks about the context here. Okay, status is in the integer format if I talk about, right, because it is 0 or 1. Okay, you have seen that, and others are float. Okay, if you talk about, right, same way, guys, you have number of float values are 22. There are number of integer values is 1, and object columns are just 1 if I talk about, right? So just let me quickly go to this. Yeah, you can add it. Shri, I just showed it to you. Okay, in case you have any doubts, okay, re-look at it because the recording will be available. Okay, so guys, now moving forward, if I talk about, right, so All of these things are pretty much there. Okay, it shows the number of data types and also the memory usage, how much memory is being utilized here. Okay, now there is a function called is null, okay, which says whether a particular what do you say, data is null or it is not null, right? So if I talk about, let me show you here, guys. Let me just run this. Okay, is null without the sum, you'll understand why am I talking about. And when I write is null, it is checking whether any particular value. So you can see it shows false. Okay, name, this one is null, I mean is not null. Okay, so that, I mean, sorry, is null turns out to be false because obviously it is not null, it is containing a value. This is also containing a value, this is also containing a value, all of them are containing value, and that's why it is saying false. Okay, but suppose, guys, suppose if imagine that this was actually null, then it should have told you true, that this is true. Suppose this was also a null, right? So you'll say true. Okay, so in that case, by the way, guys, I think you all know that in binary form, false is nothing but 0, true is 1, okay, again 0, and so forth. When you say 1 here, 0, and so. Got it, guys? Now you remember, right? Below I had written is null dot sum. Okay, I think you can understand this sum setup. So 0 plus 0 plus 1 plus 0 plus 0 and dot plus 1 plus 0 and so forth, right? So I have 0, and I think there will be a total of 195 values. Okay, and I think you can understand, because all of them are 0, there is only one here and the other one is here, right? So they both will be added and the sum will become 2, and that is why, guys, okay, it is a very clever trick to write is null dot sum. Okay, so I think you can understand that if there were null values, it is going to get added up and show you that how many number of null values are there. Okay, so that is how it works out. But I told you, right, the entire data is very perfect, right? Does not contain null values, and if I run this, you can see that there it says 0. Okay, then Parkinson's data dot describe, the describe method shows you a complete description about the columns which are there here. Okay, so if you look into it closely, guys, okay, it shows the count measurement in the beginning, then you have mean of all the values if you talk about, right? And by the way, guys, I think you can understand mean or average, standard deviation, minimum, 25, 75, 50, max. These are nothing but q1. By the way, they are called as q1, q2 and q3, also known as, the term here is called as quartile. Okay, research on it. Okay, quartile divides the entire data into 4 equal parts. That's why you have the word QUAR. Okay, so that's why one part is this. Okay, the second part is this, the third part is this, and the fourth part is this. That's why you have, this is called as a quartile. Okay, so when you divide, so equally divides it into 4 parts. Okay, if I talk about, right, for more information, visit, guys, look into the concept. Okay, and have a better understanding about it. Okay, it's out of the context of what you want to discuss here. Okay, because we have limited amount of time to talk about, so I'm not going to talk about much into the depth of the concept. Okay, for that, look into it. Okay, so we have count, which shows the count of the particular stuff, and then you have mean, which shows the average. Okay, standard deviation shows the standard deviation, meaning how much is it deviating from the mean is what the standard deviation talks about. What is the minimum value in this entire column? That says 88.33. What is the Q1? That is the first quartile value. It says 117.57, so and so for other details. Maximum value in that column is 260. And you will see that for every column, guys. Every column, you're going to see the spread across, right? This is a very nice measurement to tell you whether, like, whether the data is good or what is happening and stuff. Okay, you can see, guys, that I mean, it's pretty a little bit, if you talk about in terms of the weirdness, right? This is how it works out, right? So I mean, it seems like most of the people have Parkinson's disease. Very less people have do not have that is the status column, guys. I think you can understand, right? So 20 less than or maybe 25% of the people in the data are not having Parkinson's, whereas it contains 75% of the data, if you talk about, right, containing Parkinson's disease. So it's a good data to show Parkinson's symptoms and stuff. Okay, so I hope you can understand. One state means having Parkinson's, zero means not having Parkinson's. I hope it's particularly understandable by everyone. Okay, then guys, I have this value counts. Okay, I can say Parkinson's. You can see, guys, that I just proved that point to you earlier, right? So I can write Parkinson's data of the name of the column, and I used dot value counts, right? That what is it doing is basically showing the count of one, or having Parkinson's disease, that is 147, not having Parkinson's disease is 48 in the particular data which you see here, right? This is the status. Okay, so I hope you can understand, right? Parkinson's positive and zero means healthy or not having Parkinson's. Okay, now guys, I can create I can have what do you say, the group by of the particular terms, right? If I talk about, right, so I have Parkinson's data. If I talk about dot group by, I can say in the context here, as I'm grouping it by status, right? You can see dot mean. So based on the status, right? If I talk about status zero, right? This is the, what do you say, context, right? So you can see that on an average, the MDVP, sorry, baseline frequency of the person or of voice of the person, right, is more compared to when he has Parkinson's, right? His voice would be slow. Okay, so I mean, I think they might be talking a little bit like, I mean, very there will be a lot of what do you say, I mean, the person who has Parkinson's seems to have lesser what do you say, um, I mean, lesser baseline frequency. Okay, so seems like that, right? Same way, you can see highest frequency which is there is for Parkinson's. It is again lower than normal person, meaning a normal person can speak with a higher pitch maybe, and compared to a Parkinson's person who is facing Parkinson's disease, right? They speak very, I mean, on a very, what do you say, lower voice, if I talk about, right? So you can see, you can measure all of these things thanks to creating a group by. So you create a group by object by putting the name of the column, that is status, and then you are measuring the mean. Okay, so hopefully it's understandable by everyone, guys. Okay, then data pre-processing step, if I talk about, right, I have Parkinson's data dot drop. I'm dropping name and status. I think you can understand, guys. Okay, the column called name has, I mean, it does not add a lot of information. Do you get it, guys? Understood? Because a name of the person, what we are interested in to look at is the output, like, I mean, how the numbers are behaving. Okay, so that's why the name of the person, right, which is nothing but a category, right? I hope you can understand. This is the type of the value is categorical, right? PGO, categorical value, right? So if I talk about, right, I mean, name of the person or name of the subject, right, if who is which is getting recorded is a categorical type of a value, right? So it doesn't add much of a meaning towards your analysis, if you talk about, right? So I mean, I think you can understand Saumya having Parkinson's disease and all the other values, or maybe some other person having Parkinson's disease and having some other value, right? The person called Saumya or some other person, right, may not be I mean, that is not of interest. What is more interesting is what are the values you are getting for Parkinson's versus non-Parkinson's. Okay, and that's why we are dropping. So there is a drop method which helps you to drop the columns, right? In this case, we are dropping name and status. Let me tell you why we are removing status is because of a very simple thing, because this is our status is our nothing but dependent variable. Those of you who know machine learning would be a bit aware of it. Okay, if I talk about, right? Because why am I saying this? Because when I write like this, right? So if I talk about the Parkinson's disease, right? If I talk about, right, I'm saying that all the others, right, in this case, right, like FO hertz or fundamental frequency, if I talk about, right, frequency, high frequency, hertz, in the hertz, if I talk about, and others, right? There are 28 other columns if you talk about, right? So all of these columns, or whatever that number is, I don't remember it, guys. So whatever that is, right? Based on some, so the suppose the value is X here, maybe X1, X2, maybe X3, X4, so and so, right? Based on these values, okay, based on these values, okay, what we are doing is, in the output, I am saying whether the person has Parkinson's positive or Parkinson's negative. Okay, if I talk about, got it. So based on these set of values, I'm saying either it is one or either or it is zero. I hope you can understand, guys. That is why I'm saying that this is dependent variable. Why? Because this number is dependent on x1, x2, x3, x4, and other values, okay, towards xn, whatever the number of values are, okay? So it is dependent, and these guys here are nothing but independent variables, okay? Because I mean, whatever these values are, based on that, okay, you are going to show the output or take the output in the form of whether it is having Parkinson's or not, okay? So these other columns like MDVP, this, all of these are called as, individually they are called as independent variables. Okay, so they are called as independent variables. And the output column, because based on these values, you are saying that whether person is Parkinson's positive or not, okay, that is 1 or 0, right? That particular column becomes dependent. Dependent. Okay, guys, I think most of it is clear for everyone. Okay, that is why what am I doing here is removing status, because X, guys, generally, this is a very usual convention. Many of the people, I mean, in across the entire internet, you'll find X is denoted as what do you say? What do you say? Independent. It is a set of values, okay, contains independent values, okay, or is denoted by that stuff, okay. Y is generally, you can see, guys, what am I taking in Y? I'm taking the status in Y, okay, or the otherwise known as the dependent variable, okay. I'm taking dependent variable. By the way, guys, you can call the, I mean, it is called as variable. Okay, so a column can be called as a variable in this context as well. Okay, so we generally denote it wide across, guys. Whenever you see any code anywhere on this, I mean, anywhere, guys, will usually see people using X and Y. Okay, that is your independent and dependent. So let me run it. Okay, I ran it. Now, if I talk about, I want to print how the X looks like. If you look into it, guys, I can use the print function here, guys, but I will always advise you not to use print, because X itself is a data frame, and data frame has a nice structure. Okay, you can see it's nice to look at. Okay, so that's why I try to not to put that in the print form. Okay, so if I write print, it is going to show me in a what do you say, print formatted stuff. Okay, but I think you can understand, guys, that this contains all the things apart from the column called status. Okay, so that has been dropped. Now that is my X, and obviously you can use print Y as well. Okay, you can see that it shows me the output column, or the output column. So I can call this as Y, just Y as well, because, and by the way, guys, this is Y is not a data frame, by the way, because a single column, okay, in the pandas language, okay, guys, pay attention. A single column in pandas is called as a series. Okay, so what you see here, okay, a single column, that is the output column, is nothing but a series. Okay, and that's why you don't see it in the form directly here. Okay, anyways guys, you can use print y or whatever you want to go ahead and do that. You can talk about that. Okay, now next guys, next thing which we are doing is splitting the data into training data and testing data. I hope everyone understands why this is done, because I want to take some portion of the data to train it and some portion of the data to test it. Okay, so I think you can understand. You remember, right, from sklearn, um, in the model selection, right, we use train test split. Okay, so I'm using that function here. Okay, and I'm fitting what x comma y. Okay, let me guys probably show it to you here. Okay, so I hope you can understand that particularly x is nothing but my independent sorry, x is my independent variable and the y is the dependent variable, and I'm taking a test size of 0.2, meaning for training, I'm using 80% of the data. For testing, I'm using 20% of the data. Okay, that's why I'm saying 20.2. Okay, and random state gives you an exact same value every time you go ahead and run the particular, what do you say? Code. Okay, so it is going to split it. By the way, if I don't use random state, it is going to just split the entire thing randomly. Okay, so there are 195 columns. Okay, out of that, if you talk about, right, you can see guys, right, let me run this. Okay, and maybe I'll show it to you here. You can see that x dot shape, it is originally it was 195, but I separated it out with X train. Okay, X train contains 156. That is roughly, I think you can understand, guys, if I do this calculation. Okay, zero point 0.8 of, what do you say, 195. I think roughly you can see guys, it shows me 156. Okay, so 80% of the data is part of the training, rest 20% of the data is part of the testing, because I want to test the created model after how accurate I have created it. Okay, so I hope it's understandable. So I can use the print statement to go ahead and print that up. Okay, and see that. Okay, hopefully it's understandable by everyone. Okay, now, if I talk about it, guys, these are the few codes which are not part of the things which you can look into afterwards, maybe. Okay. Now, support vector machine model, if I talk about, right? So you remember, right? We from the sklearn models, I mean, from the support, I mean, scikit-learn, right? We imported something called as SVM. Okay, so this is one of the models. Okay, so SVM I'm using, within SVM there is something called as, let me write it up here, guys, so that you guys are not confused. Okay, SVM is support vector machine. And support vector machine could be of two different types, by the way, guys. One could be SVC. Okay, that is nothing but support vector classifier. Why am I saying classifier? Because I want to classify whether a person has Parkinson's or does not have Parkinson's. Okay, so this is a classification type of a problem which we talk about, right? Not, by the way, support vector machine also has a SVR as well. Okay, that is, this R stands for regressor. Okay, so I can also have regression analysis being done as well. But in this context, because I have clear cut two different classes, okay, a positive class Parkinson's and negative Parkinson class. Okay, so that's why you have the classifier which you are deciding to take here. Okay, hopefully guys, that's understandable by all of us. Okay, And it's a very easy task, guys. You want to create the model, it's pretty easy. So svm.svc, I'm using a linear kernel. Linear kernel simply means, because see guys, our data, if you understand guys, right, if you look into the data points here, right, if I try to draw the data points, if I talk about, right, so maybe these data points are, what do you say, I'm marking it as star, maybe this is Parkinson positive, okay, data points, right, and maybe I mark the others as this, right? So this is Parkinson negative data set. Okay. So in a support vector machine, what you do is you create a hyperplane. Okay. This is a hyperplane, right? Which separates, okay, two different classes. In this context, you are separating positive class with the negative class. Okay. I hope you can understand this. This is called as a hyperplane. And by the way, guys, a plane is something which can, what do you say, I think you can understand, if I draw a single line, that is called as a line. But if I go to more higher dimension, let's say 2 dimension, I'm separating a 3 dimension, then I need a plane which is looking like a 2D. Okay, so that will separate floating points, okay, from others, right? So I'll call this as a plane. Okay, and if I go to more higher things, right, if I talk about, I can call this same thing as a hyperplane. Okay, if I'm separating, because you can see, right, the number of dimensions here or is nothing but, by the way guys, when I say number of dimensions, it is nothing but the number of columns, okay, which are part of the entire data set. You saw that almost roughly around 27 columns are there, right? So it is existing in 27 dimensions. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about, right? So you can call it as a hyperplane. Okay, so hopefully you can understand the concept here. And I think so linear kernel is simply which helps you to separate linearly, if I talk about, right? So in the context here, right, then I have model. All you need to do is, guys, okay, training the SVM model is very easy task. Okay, model dot fit. What are you fitting? X train and Y train. Okay, you are fitting those two stuff, and I'm running it off. So the moment I do that, you can see that SVC kernel I have chosen is linear, right, and it goes ahead and does it. Okay, so it has created the model. That's model.fit is, that's the only single line which you are going to use to fit the entire model and what do you say, train it. Okay, so it has already trained the X train, because X train and the Y train, okay, it has taken that, and now the model is created already, right? Now the created model, right, what you want to do is predict. Okay, so maybe model dot predict. Okay, I put X string within that, so because I want to predict the value. Okay, so of what do you say, X, I mean of the particular stuff here, right, and training. So I want to see guys, generally prediction is done for the testing data, but for convenience, here I am using the training data. So I'll run it on training data as well as how it is performing on the testing data as well. We'll see that. Okay. So I can predict. So once you have created, right, you're going to use accuracy score, right? You remember, right? From the beginning, we imported the particular package, right, which is going to help us with the printing the accuracy score. I'm going to say Y train, comma, X train prediction. Okay, so if I talk about because I'm taking the Y train and actual Y training, okay, because the Y train is going to contain, right, the actual I hope you can understand, guys, this Y train is what is containing the actual value. VALUE, I'm sorry guys. Okay, a Y train is containing the actual value, but X train prediction is containing the predicted value. Okay, so I think you can understand, guys. Okay, this is where your concept comes into picture, right? So you are fitting that how accurate is a Y train with the X train prediction. Okay, so it's going to measure that. Okay, and let me go ahead and just do that here. Let me run it, and you can see it is run successfully. And if I run this, okay, you can see that the an accuracy score of the training data, which you can see, is almost like 87% accurate. Okay, so it is working good enough if you talk about, right? Now, same way, guys, because prediction is generally for new tests, new data which you are putting, right? So X test, if I talk about, right, I'm putting X test is the data which the model has never seen. If you look into, right, you have this X test here, right, is the data which the model has never seen. It has contains, I mean, it contains 39 data points. Okay, and let's see how it works out here. So I run this, okay, and I run the accuracy score for X test, and you can see it's almost the same. If I talk about, right, we are getting almost the exact same thing if you talk about, right? So that means the data of the training which we have done is particularly very good if you talk about, right? So hopefully you can understand the context here, guys, that that is what is I mean, you might have created a good model, and that is what is going to talk about. Got it, guys? I hope you can understand the context, right? The model building is done, and you can see almost 87% accuracy, and that's a very good sign. Okay, it's behaving good. Okay, now to create a predictive system, right, you can, so guys, here's the thing, here's the part where you put in. Okay, now you are going to predict. So I told you, right, that these will be the data which it is depending on. Okay, so this is the dependent variable. I'm creating my own data here. I'm putting some sample here. Okay, I'm putting some record. By the way, guys, if you want to know that how many records are there, there will be exactly that, I mean, the number of records which are there in the column. Okay, so if you talk about X test, X train, if I talk about, there are 22 columns, right? You see that there are 22 columns. That's why this guy here, again, contains 22 records as well. Okay, so you can count that up, okay, in case you guys are interested. Okay, but I'm giving a new set of value to see whether my model is accurately predicting the value or not predicting. Okay, so I have the input data here. Then I am converting it into array, okay, of what do you say, of the input data. If you talk about, right, let me what do you say, talk about that in that context, right? And then I'm reshaping the data so that it has the particular shape which is necessary for the particular array to see that. Okay, and then you have the prediction class. Okay, you are doing model dot predict. You remember that method which we used just now a while ago. Okay, model dot predict, and I'm putting input data which is reshaped. Okay, and I'm storing it in prediction, and I'm printing the prediction. Okay, now I'm saying if the prediction of what do you say, 0, that why am I writing prediction of 0? Because the output of prediction is like this. Okay, it is in the form of a list. Okay, so I'm saying that if this I mean, when I write prediction of 0, that means I'm referring to element number 1. The name of the name of the element is 1 here, right? So if my prediction 0 is double equal to 0, that means the person does not have Parkinson's, else the person has Parkinson's disease. Okay, so I'm just running it. You can see that it shows that based on these input values, okay, which you have put in. Okay, so maybe the first one is nothing but, I think, fundamental frequency. The second one was, I think you can understand, guys. Okay, it's easy to understand. Whatever the values are there, you put exactly the same, and then you get the output here. So it says Parkinson, sorry, person has Parkinson's. Okay, now guys, now that you have trained the model, okay, what you can do next is, what do you say, you can save the model. Okay, and how to save the model? There is a module called as pickle module, or the pickle what do you say, what do you say, yeah, it's called as the pickle module. Okay, and once you run this, okay, you can say that I'm going to create a file name called Parkinson's underscore model dot save file. Okay. The pickle, you should make sure that you are using the extension as .sav. Okay. That is the save file for the particular stuff. Okay. You can name your own, what do you say, model. Okay. So, and what you are doing here is pickle. All you have to do is pickle dot dump. Pickle dot dump means using pickle, you are dumping it to this particular file name. Okay. So you are opening this file. Okay. With the mode as, by the way, guys, you can see WB. Okay. This stands for write binary. Okay, you're writing binary data to this particular stuff. Okay, and I think you what because the fact is, guys, model, right, model is containing binary data, and that's why you're writing it as I mean using write binary. Okay, you are writing it on top of binary. Okay, so I hope you can understand, guys, and I can run this, and the moment I run that, okay, you will see that in the place where you have opened it up, right, let me show you. You can see, guys, there is a save file which has been created here, Parkinson's underscore model dot sav file. And you can see the type of the file is sav file, and you can see the time here. Just now, a few seconds ago, I created this file. Okay, you can see the timestamp. It has been created now, just now. Okay, so that is what is meant by this. Okay, so I am opening the file and writing, I mean, obviously how to use the file. You can use something like, what do you say, pickle dot load. Suppose I want to load the file. Okay, I can do that by using pickle dot load, right, and I'll be able to load the file. Okay, so I think you can understand, guys, these are the few columns just for reference. Okay, and my sav file is ready. Okay, and I think, guys, you can understand this is the exact same thing you are going to do for the others. Okay, I'm not going to talk about others. You are going to look into it, guys. There is ipynb file, but in each of these files, right, if you look into, okay, you're doing the same kind of analysis. Okay, suppose I click on this heart disease prediction. Okay, now obviously you are downloading the dependent libraries and everything. If I go down here, okay, you can see here that I'm going to save the file here again. You can see after doing the same thing, right? Person has heart disease or not, or whatever, right? You are again using importing pickle, saving the file in .save mode. Okay. And uh, I hope you can understand the context here. So I think you can understand the concept here, guys. Okay. So hopefully we all understand this. Okay, I'm creating this heart disease model detection. Okay, if I talk about, right, and then I have used .save for saving it, right? So if I run this also, you're going to end up having another sav file like this. Okay, Parkinson's underscore model. Same way you are going to have heart underscore disease dot underscore model dot save. So you can create that particular stuff. Everything remains the same, all the things which we have just talked about. Okay, you talk about that, you create. So if you want to have different particular diseases and everything, you can do that. Okay, now once you are done with all of this, once you have created the save file, okay, now what I'm going to do is probably open this the next file, which is the app.py file, which is going to help me with the creating the app. Okay, so this app.py file is what do you say, is responsible for what do you say, creating the front end file. Okay, so you saw that we created that ipynb file. Now we are going to create the small front end for this particular file, which you can see here. Oh, hopefully that is understandable, guys. Okay, now I have, you can see, guys, in this app.py file, let me introduce you to all the different terms here. Okay, I have Streamlit. Okay, this is a library. The Streamlit library is used for deployment. Okay, so this is used for deployment purpose. Okay, so maybe if I talk about the context here, right, so as of now we are interested into doing something like a local deployment. I can do that. local deployment. Okay, so you remember, right? I wrote that command earlier, right? Streamlit run, okay, command app.py. Okay, I use that command to run. So I used Streamlit for doing that, okay, for running this Python application file. Okay, so that is what Streamlit does. Okay, import pickle file gets imported here. Okay, if I talk about, right, why am I importing pickle? Because I have already those .save files. Okay, you can say pickle is of format. Actually, I mean, pickle helps you to save the models in the form of what do you say, machine learning models in the form of the things which we are talking about here. Okay, for it being used as a machine learning model. Okay, then from Streamlit options menu, import options menu, because guys, in this context you saw that I was using that drop down, right, option there, right? So that drop down in the output, right, was able to pop up because of another module, again part of Streamlit only. Okay, called as, I mean, Streamlit options menu. Right, from there I am importing the options menu. Okay, now changing the name and logo, I can use st.set pages config. Okay, page title, I can call the page title. You might have seen, right, on top it shows disease prediction. Okay, with the page icon as this. Okay, I can put page icon as this. Okay, and we'll see that. Okay, and then by the way guys, these are the default styling. There is the main menu. When you if you run Streamlit, okay, it shows these things. Menu, by default there will be a footer, there will be a header, right? By default there it will be there. Okay, but if I want to deactivate it, what am I doing is, right, I'm setting each of these contexts, right? I'm saying setting that visibility to hidden, meaning I'm saying that hide it. Okay, so hide the main menu, hide the footer, and hide the header. That's what I'm saying here. Okay, default one. Okay, I want to create my own header and footer, I can do that. Okay, but Streamlit already has that what you say, if you don't hide it, it says build with love using Streamlit or something in those lines. Okay, so if you don't want that, okay, you can set the visibility to hidden. Okay, so that it is gone for good. Okay, so now moving forward guys, I can use Streamlit dot markdown. Okay, and I'm putting forward to impose, because all of these are markdown text, by the way guys. Okay, whatever you see, right, I'm enforcing hide I mean Streamlit style, right? And unsafe allow HTML, that is true. Unsafe allow HTML actually helps you to run. Sometimes what happens when you hide the things, okay, it might behave abruptly. Okay, so that's why but still what we are saying, that you can run it in unsafe mode, even if there is a problem, still run it. That's what I'm saying when I say true. Okay, so I hope you can understand. And then guys, you can see that I'm using you saw me using this particular image. Let me copy this image and paste it here just to show it to you. Okay, can you see this guys? It is an image which is available on the website, on some random website. Okay, you remember my app contained this image. Okay, so I can edit this particular URL, okay, to put my own image there. Okay, replace with your own image URL or whatever, you can do that. Okay, then page background image, I can do a lot of different things. These are all guys, these are all, what do you say, additional things which you want to go ahead and configure, but they are all, what you say, for your convenience. Okay, if you want to make your app more aesthetic to look at and all of those things, but if you want to do a simple deployment, these things are not necessary. Then you have st.markdown, you have these again unsafe, I want to say yes, got it. Then guys, obviously I have my models which are running already. Okay, the diabetes model is, I'm using pickle.load. Okay, you remember, right? Pickle.load helps you to load the file. Okay, and I'm going to open this model which I saved, right? You remember, right? I saved all of these models in .sav files, right? So there was this diabetes model, heart disease model after I created, right? So Parkinson's model .save, lungs disease model .save, right? You're going to create it for other diseases. You can, because I want to show all the different diseases, I can load all of them. Okay, so I have these models here. Okay, now selected, you can see st.select box. Okay. So within the select box, you are saying select a disease to predict, and you saw, right, there was a drop down. Okay, this select box helps you to create that drop down. Okay, diabetes prediction, heart disease prediction. This st dot what do you say, select box helps you to create the drop down. Okay, then I'm saying I mean, I've created a def here. It says display input, right? You are going to say whatever the tooltip you want to go ahead and give. The type is text, right? If the type is a text, right, what am I going to say? That is basically nothing but for each of the things, right? I have created the display input here. Okay, so I can display my number input. Okay, so I hope you can understand the context here, right? Same way, guys, if you have selected diabetes prediction, right, you saw, right, this set of code will only execute if you have selected diabetes prediction. Okay, you are saying after this is selected, I am saying I'm creating more things. Okay, you are putting the title there as diabetes. Okay, right, you can use st.write, so you can see enter the following details to predict and other things, display input, right? You can see, guys, I'm calling this function display input, right, where I have all of these in display input function, which is containing all of these things. Okay, then glucose containing all of these things, right? Blood pressure containing all of these things, right? And these display input is helping you to take input box. Got it, guys? Okay, so st.text input, it takes the text input. Got it, guys? Okay, hopefully you can understand the context here. Now I have all of these, right? I'm entering all of these relevant parameters, right? Pregnancies, glucose, blood pressure, skin thickness, insulin, BMI, all of these things I'm entering. Okay, when I select diabetes, these options will not be selected if you are selecting something else. Okay, so if the what do you say, streamlit dot button, if I talk about, it says diabetes test result, right? If you talk about, right, then in this context I'm predicting, right, if you talk about, right, if the diabetes of I mean, it says 0, right? If the prediction is 1, in that case you are saying that the person is non-diabetic. But I mean, sorry, if the person is diabetic, if the person is if the output is 1. Okay, else I'm saying the person is non-diabetic, right? If you talk about that, right? And st, I mean, you can see that this is what you say, success box, which talks about in terms of the context here. Now, same way, guys, you can see, right? If this is selected, then these happens. If you have selected heart disease prediction, then the title becomes heart disease, enter the following details to predict, and you have age, sex, CP or chest pain, if you talk about, right? Rest, what do you say? Blood pressure, I mean, blood pressure, sugar, if I talk about, right? All of those things come into picture here. Okay, so hopefully you can understand the context here, guys. Okay, so that is what, again, you are saying if st dot button, whatever you are talking about, right? Again, the person has heart disease if it is 1, else the person does not have a heart disease, right? Same goes for Parkinson's. You saw we created that Parkinson's stuff, right? If you talk about, right, again, I am entering all the details, fundamental frequency, right? High frequency, what is the highest frequency, what is the lowest frequency, jitter percentage, all of those things I am entering. Okay, and then you are going to go ahead and do the prediction. Okay, I'm using model Parkinson's dot predict, and I'm putting all of these numbers there. Okay, and then if, I mean, the person has Parkinson's, if the Parkinson's I mean, if it says that it is 1, Okay, else he does not have Parkinson's. And same way goes here. Same way you have the same thing for lung cancer. Okay, if you have selected lung cancer, other set of things come into picture, right? The process is the same, guys, exactly the same. Okay, and if you click on this st dot button, okay, if it is clicked and stuff, right, and then what you're doing is fitting up all the values here. Okay, and then you have the person has lung cancer disease if it is one, else the person does not have lung cancer disease, right? So same way it goes here as well. Hypothyroid, maybe you do the same thing, right? T3 TSH measurement, whatever this gender is, right? T4 or stuff. Got it, guys? So I hope this is what is the entire thing talks about, right? This was the entire code of the thing. All you have to do is now that you see this .py file, right? You will see the exact same thing, guys. When I try to run it, okay, if you look into the context here, guys, okay, let me try to quickly do that here maybe. And I have to first open this up here maybe. And I'll say environments. I mean, project 2 scripts activate. If I talk about, right, I have activated this. Now I'm going to say, I'm going to, maybe I'll just write not Jupyter notebook. Okay, I'll go to that particular place. That is my CD. Name of the folder is project 2. Then I'm going to medical diagnosis using AI. I'm inside that. Okay. And here, guys, okay, I can write the command streamlit, just like how I showed it to you. Anyways, guys, I use the CLS. Okay, streamlit run app.py, and I run this. Okay, and the moment I do that, okay, you see, right? You saw earlier, guys. I'm just showing it to you now that we have created it. On top, if I talk about, guys, okay, look at what is there on top, guys. Look at this place. You remember, right? Icon, the page icon, we set this particular stuff on the left hand side. We also set disease prediction, right? If you remember, right? Just now we saw, so I can do that. Okay, then I have selected disease to predict, right? I can, you remember, right? I can use the drop down. Okay, from the drop down I can select, right? So only after I go to that drop down, you can see that if you go inside that, only then it shows I have selected heart disease prediction. It is going to show heart disease, and then you enter all these parameters, right? Whichever you saw, and you remember, right? You are clicking on the button, and based on that, you can see that it shows the person does not have heart disease or has heart disease. So that is what I wanted to talk about, guys. It's a pretty simple task, and you can see the background image as well, guys. You can see the image. It is loaded the way it is talking about. Got it, guys? I think all of us understand the concept here, and all of us got a basic fundamental idea about how the execution is happening. Okay, so this was all about your project, guys. Okay, and that's what I wanted to talk about. Okay, so now that I think it's 7:10, by the way. I won't be able to show it uh, from the context here. Okay, so by the way, guys, as I said, you will be having the recordings. Okay, so I mean, take the recording very slowly, guys. Okay, every step you will have everything in detail. Okay, why didn't I merge the data set? Akila is asking. Akila, the reason why I'm not merging the data set is because you have, what do you say, different, because obviously if you merge the data set, right, Parkinson will be merged with heart disease, and it will be, I mean, merged with other things, right? It is different patients' data, right? And you are doing it differently for different patients. Okay, so that's why it is not a good idea to merge it unless there is a dependency. Okay, if you have some of the data which you have taken, right, which is depending on the others, right, then you can, you have two different data frames where you are talking about, right? In that case, you want to go ahead and merge it. Okay. So I hope you can understand the context here, Akila. Okay. So, yeah. In the recording sessions will be, I think, guys, you can see your what do you say, LMS. It should be available there. Else, sir will guide you maybe tomorrow, okay, day after tomorrow, for where you can find it. Okay, add requirements.txt to the folder that you provided. Jayaditya, you can create your own requirements.txt. Okay. See how you can create your own requirements.txt file. Okay. There is something called as pip freeze. Okay. I'm just giving you a hint. Okay. Then there is pip reqs. Okay. There is a module called pip reqs, which will help you to get a requirements.txt file. Okay. So see, it is a very easy task to do that. Okay. I want you to do some homework, see it at your end. Okay. It is called as pip reqs. Okay. I hope you can understand the context and check it out. What is the aim? Build a model or to write the code document? Everything, everything. The build to build a model, to build the project, then do the documentation. Got it? You should not be confused. These are all the parts of it. You have 1 month. Okay. You should understand that you write the code, you understand, and then you portray it. Okay. Should we add this data to our project? Yes, you can add the data to your project. Okay. How did you load the Parkinson's data file in Jupyter? That is by using pd.read_csv, Shri. Okay. Read_csv file will help you to load the data. Okay. So just have a look at it. I have already showed you in a very elaborate manner. Okay. The recordings will be available shortly. Okay, guys, and go very slow with the recording. Okay. This is exactly, I mean, this 1.5 hours of the recording, okay, is the actual crux of your project, guys, the entire 1 month. So look into the recording, understand it, bit by bit. If you are not able to understand the terms and stuff, little bit Google it. Okay. Go to YouTube, go to what do you say, chat GPT, look into it. What does it talk about? And on top of it, at the end, if you fail, right, you can come back day after tomorrow and ask me again. Okay. So I'll help you with the context. Okay. So, oh, sorry, I think, what does what column stand for? What does the name column stand for? Okay, the name column, by the way, stands for the, what do you say, patients, which are which for which you have collected the data. Okay, can we make graphs in data in order to understand? Yes, Ankita, it is advisable to do that. Okay, so that graph is nothing but your EDA analysis. Okay, you can do your EDA analysis using Matplotlib and other plotting libraries. Okay. Yes, you can create something called as a migraine detector if you have the data. Got it? Brilliant. Means peeping into the folder. Yes. I mean, yeah, exactly. Dot means, yeah. Dot simply means I'm referring to the current folder. Okay. So if I don't want to put this entire thing, you see this path here on top, right? See users, Saomya, OneDrive, desktop, AICTE, right? If I don't want to put it, I'll just put a dot. That means whatever, take the current folder and then slash with other things. Okay. So I hope you can understand the concept here. And we have install, yeah, you have to install all the libraries, and to install all the libraries you use pip install the name of the library, pip install pandas, pip install numpy, pip install matplotlib, all of those. Okay. Recorded session, project 2, give a suggestion right in the doc file. The suggestion will be there shortly, guys. You have still 2 more weeks. Okay, there you will understand about what are the suggestions. I think, guys, more or less I have how to delete virtual environment from the command prompt. Satakshi Gupta has asked. So I showed you that. Okay, all you need to do is I mean, delete that folder. Okay, from command prompt, very interesting. You can use something like something called as rmdir. There is a rmdir command, okay, which is going to help you to remove a directory. Okay, I mean, I told you a directory is nothing but a folder, right? So you can use rmdir command to remove that. Okay, so how do we get the data set and everything? I have already shared it, guys. Most of it I think is clear for everyone. Okay, Avinash, about the GitHub deployment, check it out a bit. Okay. So if you face any problems, okay, see, there are some tasks you should do at your end as well, guys. Okay. So it is very interesting. The project is very interesting, guys. You will be able to learn a lot of things. Okay. So by the way, just to give you an idea about how the deployment happens, okay, you can, what do you say, push the code to GitHub, copy and paste the folder in GitHub, create something called as a requirements.txt file. Your friend asked me how to create it. Okay, look into it. I have just given suggestions. You have to use pip reqs. Okay, there is a module called, so use write something like, if I talk about, right, pip install pip reqs. Okay, pip required. So this is the required. Okay, what it does, it scans all the files within the particular folder and helps you to generate a requirements or .txt file automatically. Got it? So that is going to help you do that. Okay, so and once that is done, you can go to what do you say, cloud, Streamlit Cloud. Okay, Streamlit Cloud is the place where you can deploy it. Okay, so it's a very, I mean, it's a 2-click 3-click process. Okay, once you have created it, but I want you to explore it. Okay, so first you have to deploy, go to GitHub, upload it there, and after you do that, yeah, one important thing is when you go into log in into Streamlit Cloud. Okay, when you log in, it will ask you for sign in and sign up. Okay, so sign up using the GitHub, what do you say, I mean, whatever email ID you are using in GitHub, use that email ID for sign up. Okay, only then you will be able to join those two things together and do it. Okay, so I hope you can understand the context. Build the model from data sets or stuff provided by us. You can create, you can take it from you yourself, Avant, I think that's how you spell it. Many of you have, Avinash has also asked again. I think, Avinash, please refer it. Okay. So I want you to do some research. It's a very easy process. Believe me. Okay. Go to YouTube and search it. Okay. It's very easy. So first upload your code files to GitHub, and then from there, join it using the Streamlit Cloud. Okay. So I'm only using, I'm only issue with terminal means it has error the command. Isha, I'm not sure whether you're saying that Jupyter Notebook command is not running. It's because Python is not installed. Okay, could be. I'm not sure. You just gave me one single line. I'm not sure what you're talking about. But if that is this, that is so, you have to install Python. Okay, and then you can do that. You can use go to python.org to install. Okay, so for next class, you have to implement. Lakka, you have to implement the project. Okay, so look into the file, I mean, recording. It is no, we are not going to use OpenCV, Himanshu. We are not going to use OpenCV because it does not have image-based data. Okay, we are working on text-based data. Okay, hopefully you can understand. What do you expect us to do? I expect you to create the project. I have already showed you how to create the project. You can follow the process and create it from scratch. Okay, do the installation, work around with it, and add some new features. That is what I'm expecting you to do. Okay, so I just showed you a very simple way of executing, but you can refine it. Okay, all right. So I think guys have a sample project. Guys, there is no sample project. I think this is the sample project itself. Okay, no sir, that is not Python problem, it is Streamlit. Okay, Isha says it is the problem of Streamlit. Okay, so what does the error show you, Isha? Can you write the error exactly? Sir, can I use Kaggle? Yeah, you can use Kaggle for what do you say, downloading data sets as well. Yes. Okay. For virtual environment. No, 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 no. These are all free. These are all free. The best thing about Python, which you can think of is, guys, Python is completely free to use and you can work around with all sorts of things. Okay. So I hope you can understand the context here. Okay. So you can use the same data set, Omkar, but as I said, experiment it yourself. Okay. I just showed you a demonstration. In fact, no one is stopping you to copy the entire code and show it to us. Okay. No one is stopping that to you. But when you are putting efforts to earn a certification, guys, okay, let's all put some efforts to research a bit. Okay. Can you show the share the command? Okay, the command I mean Anju, I'm writing it down for here for you, is streamlit, streamlet, okay, dash I mean space run, okay, the name of your Python file. In the earlier thing it was app.py. Okay, so this is the command which will help you to run the stuff. Okay, so you can check these recording again, okay, for a better understanding. Okay, all right, guys, I think it's 23 already. I am like I answered most of your questions and stuff. Okay, guys, let's meet up maybe day after tomorrow, guys. Have a very insightful evening, guys. Research on the topic, add some few what do you say, mirch masala of your own. Okay, because guys, if you do that, it's overall going to help you. Okay, so guys, understand one thing there. Okay, look into the things very slowly. Okay, so go through the recording very slowly. Okay, and have a look at it. Okay, so it will be very easy, believe me, for that. Okay, guys, I think most of it is Avinash says aggregation function. Okay, I got the error when I try to calculate the mean. Yeah, so look at this. Avinash, the reason is, see, generally you get this aggregation error, okay, the type error when you have, right? So I think you can understand, Avinash, that a mean takes in account of numeric values. You can take mean of only numeric values. Okay, if you look into the error, it says d type is object. Okay, yeah, I think if you remember correctly, right, you have to drop that particular column. Okay, which column? That subject id column, because you remember, right, the subject column contains, what do you say, data in the form of a object. Object means string. Okay, so you have to use the command called df.drop. Okay, I mean whatever your name of the data frame is, dot drop, and drop that particular column, and then you try to do the mean. You will see that it will work fine. Okay, hopefully you can understand. Try that out. You can see that. Okay, we have environment. The term environment project is not recognized. Yeah, so I understand that. Okay, the reason why you are getting it is because you haven't created the environment, by the way. Okay, I was right about it, Isha. You have to first install Python. Okay, so when you install Python, you will not see this error. Okay, because I'm pretty sure that your system is not having Python. Okay, and that's why it says about what do you say, it is saying that is not recognized as the command, if you talk about, right? So look into it once. Okay, and first you have to, or you can do one thing, right? Do not create your virtual environment, run it directly. Okay, run the command directly, but before that, check whether Python is installed on the system. Okay, so I think, guys, most of the questions are answered, and maybe I think all of us understood the context here. Let me stop the recording and